everyone to the call. And if you are joining us for the very first time, we're very happy to have you with us. I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Cheryl Cortese. I'm a National Marketing Director with the Juice Plus Company, and I've had that honor and privilege and prosperity and great happiness now for well over 32 years. I'm right heading up to 33 at this point, looking forward to the next 33 because the adventure only gets better all the time. We really, as a group, we've been meeting like this every Monday night for 30 years now. We've not missed a Monday night, and it's a wonderful way to stay connected, to really not only be in support of each other, but to reach out to others and invite them into our community and here for inspiration, just really a function that helps our whole business to grow and prosper and to really help other people. Just to give you a background on company history, again, if you're new for the very first time tonight, is our company is actually 50 years old this year. We entered the marketplace so many years ago with a product that I'm sure you're all familiar with today. We were the company that introduced smoke detectors for the home. And so that obviously was a great success, laid the foundation for great success to come. And over the years, we diversified. We went into the field of environment with water filtration and air filtration. We went into, from there, we entered this wonderful business that we're in today, and just food and food energy with the Juice Plus product. So that's been an amazing experience over the years, is that we've really had the good fortune of working with products for the good and well-being of mankind. Safety, water filtration, air filtration, and then health technology with good food in a very simple way and in a simple form, but very powerful and very simple. And I think that's made a huge difference for us in so many ways, not only for our own health and well-being, but for the health and well-being of those we love and the people that we come across on a daily basis. So being able to stretch out and reach two very powerful needs right now is just, I think, a very important place to be. We couldn't be more relevant than we are today. I think it's really paramount in the top of everyone's head as far as their thought process is to how can we best take care of ourselves from a health standpoint, from a nutritional standpoint, and then, how can we help others and for ourselves and for others really make that difference as far as financial security. And we really have both to offer. So I'm going to see now if our speaker has joined us at this point. Do we have Jeff Olson and Karen Fowler-Smith with us?
Jeff, you there? I promise I just talked to him. I texted him, and he said he was dial-in.
Okay, well, we'll give him a minute or so here. And if not, Karen, you and I'll just...
That's it. I know his story so good, I could do it.
Okay.
Hang on.
We'll just talk about it.
He says I'm on. He says he's on. Three-way me in. I'm going to three-way him in. Hang on one second.
That would probably be the best idea.
Good idea. He's so smart. Hang on.
Well, I think that the one good thing about Juice Plus is it not only gives us good health, but it gives us patience. And so I know everybody on the line, I appreciate you a great deal for your patience as we handle this little technology issue here, but we'll have him shortly. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you about Jeff Olson as she brings him on. He's certainly someone that has got a lot to share. Jeff,
Cheryl?
are you with us?
Jeff?
I am here. I apologize. Yay. I must have hit pound or hit the star or hit the wrong button.
Well, we were just at the point to introduce you, so it's perfect timing, Jeff. And so welcome to our call. I'm just going to share a little bit about Jeff, and then I'm going to turn it over to Karen, who's going to interview him. But he has a lot to offer. Jeff is a dad on a mission. He's a National Marketing Director with the title of PMD, which is Presidential Marketing Director, and means that he has a very significant and large business. He works alongside his wife, Toni, and they have 3 daughters. and just to give you a little background, he's 10 years U.S. ski team, a 2-time Olympian, a Pan American gold medalist, and he's the you're going to have to tell me this, Jeff, because it's Crosson President of. Describe that for me. I'm not sure what.
Crosson is a new ski company.
Okay. Well, I didn't know it well, so now I do. Thank you. But he's going to talk to you tonight about high performance for anyone in life, food, conditioning, 3 principles for deeper level results. And he's going to be interviewed by Karen Smith. Karen is also a PMD, which is National Marketing Director with the title of Presidential Marketing Director. She has been with our company for 18 years. She's from Boca Raton. And so, Karen.
Hey, good. Well, thank you. Yay.
She's going to run with Jeff. Okay.
I am. I can't keep up, but yeah. So thank you. Hi, everyone. Super excited. I actually just have to tell you, one of the reasons why I partnered up with Juice Plus was so I could work from home and raise my kids, and we travel during the summer. So I live in Florida during the school year, and then in the summertime I'm in New Hampshire and Boston. And I promise you, I just rolled in about an hour ago. I was hanging out with Maura and Courtney and a bunch of our Juice Plus friends, but I when I couldn't get Jeff for a second, I got a little frazzled. So glad this all worked out. It always works out, right? So I'm super happy to be here tonight. I adore Jeff. He is one of my favorites in the Juice Plus company. Don't tell anybody, but he's an elite athlete who just gets it. Like, he understands that value of nutrition. So my background is in physical therapy and athletic training. I was all about exercise. I rehabbed athletes. I played sports. I'm raising some kids that are athletes. And it really was a game changer when I learned the nutrition component is as important as the exercise component. And you really need both to be fit and healthy. And Jeff will talk about that. But that's really one of the reasons why I partnered up with Juice Plus, is because I wanted to inspire athletes and people and really everyone to take control of their health. So what I love about this business is in the Juice Plus world is I'm always learning. It's this huge continuing ed course for me, for all of us. And Jeff is someone that I learned so much from. And so I'm excited that he's here to share. So, Jeff, why don't you just start with your story and just go with it. I know you have like 3 solid pillars that you want to share. And then I'll jump in and we'll chat at the end.
Well, thank you both, Karen and Cheryl. It's an honor to be on the call. Thank you, Karen, for thinking of me, and Cheryl, anytime I can contribute to your world and your crew, I consider it a big honor. I have admired you and watched you for 20 years, and hopefully for another 20 years, as we are just getting started. I think, real quickly, my recap, I was a professional athlete. I am not an elite athlete anymore.
In my eyes, you are. That's not true.
Well, I do know that game. I do know how elite athletes think, and what the lens through which they view anything is generally a performance lens. When I retired, I worked in technology, and then I worked in the money business, and for the last 20 years, I've been in the healthy living business with our health food. And I learned really the 3 pillars I want to talk about through my sports career, my technology career, and my money career that I've sort of parlayed or transcribed, if you will, just as principles that work when it comes to making the body work. I talk about human performance for anyone. Human performance can be pregnancy. Human performance can be better circulation for a diabetic. Human performance can mean more energy all day for parents. Human performance is just getting the body to work when you want it to work. Good food makes the body work. Great food makes the body perform and perform on demand. And it's that always-on component of physiological vitality. You know it when you have it, a bounce in your step, a twinkle in your eye. What drives and what makes the body work inside of us we are more alike than we are different. So I don't care if you're Michael Phelps, my grandparents, my teenagers, a pregnant mom, my next-door neighbor, a type 2 diabetic, a type A personality. Whoever you are, this is a universal conversation, because what brings the body to life is some simple things, right? When you get into healthy living, one of the best coaches I ever had said, I got to come up with 1,000 different ways to tell you knuckleheads about a half a dozen things. And if you focus on those half a dozen things, it's hard to do in the world of squirrels and abundance and the internet and going down rabbit holes. And when you get down to brass tacks, what constitutes healthy living is eat well, move well, sleep well, think well, pray well, work well. It's simple stuff, but we stumble and mumble and fumble and are humbled in the actual execution, the doing part. And so when it comes to athletics, here's what athletes do as good as anyone, is they are this is pillar number one. They are ruthlessly practical, and they will do what works. If it is ruthlessly practical and it works, chances are it's on the radar of an athlete. Now, we all have an opportunity to educate, empower, enlighten, and enable athletes, because they just don't know what they don't know. We all have blind spots. There is a blind spot in human performance nutrition, which I call sort of a higher form of sports nutrition, because it actually fuels for physiological performance first, and sports performance secondarily. Because if you're not optimized physiologically, sports performance tends to be about carbs and proteins and fats, and 24 hours before and 24 hours after, and it tends to be a macronutrient caloric conversation. I need to gain weight and build mass, or I need to lose weight and lean out. But this is a deeper level of conversation, and it speaks to the majesty and the power of whole foods. And it involves a very simple concept called nutrient density. And if you think of an iceberg, so being ruthlessly practical is sort of pillar number one. Knowing physiological vitality, physiological conditioning, which I'm going to come to in a moment, happens over time. You can't do it in a day. You can't do it in a week. It is a habit or habits that get played out over time. But nutrient density is the cornerstone of all things that are great about whole foods. And if you think of the iceberg, what you see above water is carbs, proteins, and fats and calories. But we all know that 80% of that iceberg resides below the water. And that is micronutrition. That is nutrient density. That is the majesty of whole foods. And it includes, 20th century terms like vitamins and minerals, but it also includes enzymes. It includes antioxidants. It includes pre- and probiotics. And then the grab bag for everything else is phytochemicals and phytonutrients and plant nutrients. And science discovers what's easy to discover first, not necessarily what's most important. So vitamin C, as an example, is a very large molecule. You can see it under a very crude microscope. So we have 80, 90 years of research and data on that. The research and data on any one nutrient, I call it kind of the nutrient du jour complex, is generally correlated to one attribute that some scientist has picked out and tries to find some correlation, right? But it doesn't take into context the three-dimensional Rubik's Cube sort of mystery and majesty of the biochemistry of your body. So the prevailing narrative in sports nutrition or human nutrition really is calories, and it's carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. And in the athletic world, fueling for energy, fueling for performance, fueling for energy is about really replenishing depleted glycogen stores, which just you got to get the gasoline in the tank, right? That's the gasoline part of the equation, and that can be very simplistic, right? That's not complicated. Everyone sort of understands that. The second sort of component of sports nutrition is I need to build mass, build matter, and that's the protein amino acid conversation, right? And so that's the first two concepts in sports nutrition are replenishing depleted glycogen stores and rebuilding damaged, muscle proteins or vascular proteins or heart proteins or all our tissues and organs are built of amino acids and proteins, and that's kind of where it stops. But this third pillar, the blind spot in human performance nutrition, as I call it, or the blind spot in sports nutrition, is conditioning physiological function. And that has to do with replenishing phytochemical reservoirs every single day. There's 25,000 plus molecules that are called phytonutrients that we know about, and we're just beginning to understand how they provide this synergistic effect, like 1 + 1 = 4. There's leverage in the whole thing, and I kind of consider it CrossFit conditioning for your body. And what it does to the body, and I give whole talks on this, is it brings the body to life. And I don't have enough time, but I'll give you a couple specific examples that really relate to anyone and everyone. I don't care who you are. It activates stuff in our body. It modulates stuff in our body, and it protects stuff in our body. It activates what I call vascular capacity. That has to do with the endothelium. It's a single cell lining in our entire vascular system, and that nutrient density, those phytonutrients and phytochemicals provide just-in-time biochemistry for your vascular system to have capacity, to have vasoconstriction and vasoexpansion, and that ability to stand and deliver when you want it to perform, right? And so you can imagine red blood cells lining up in single file to get to the capillaries in any sort of extension of your digits or into your macula in your eye or wherever, right? For diabetics, circulation, wicked important. For athletes, wicked for everyone. And I have a visual of a constricted vessel or a vessel that's wide open. Which one do you want? You know, that's a performance equation. It improves energy output. How does it do that? Well, it delivers or sustains what's called mitochondrial density. What's that? It's a geeky thing that it's energy output. It modulates the immune system. The immune system is the front line and back line defense for everything that's not good, right? And, you know, most of your immune system resides in your gastrointestinal tract. It protects things. It protects from oxidative damage. It protects from the inflammatory response. When you train hard, you naturally have an inflammation and inflammatory response. So if we can modulate stuff, if we can protect stuff, if we can activate stuff, that's all fine, well, and good if we do it in a day. But we got to do that day after day after day after day after day and turn that into a habit, turn that into a lifestyle, and turn it into just how you roll and who you are. But unfortunately, we don't finish strong doing it day in and day out. And for an adult man, 9 servings a day, give me a break. I don't know a lot of men that do that. Women, 7 servings a day of fruits and vegetables, give me a break. I don't know a lot of women that do that. I'm in the business of healthy eating. I don't even do it. We've created a modern world where that's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. For athletes, it's double digit. And so when I was introduced to this idea of plant powders, and I speak to it in terms of a category, right? When you hear the word Juice Plus, it conjures up a lot of different things in people's brains. They think it's a juice. They think it's a vitamin pill. We have to help people understand the category first before we talk about the brand. It's like you've been given toothpaste in a tube 100 years ago, and all you've ever known is baking soda, right? So helping people understand, you know, what internet search is before you talk about Google, right? Plant powders, this company has pioneered for 27 years. And so how do we use technology and try to get out of the way of Mother Nature to give you just-in-time inventory for nutrient density? Well, knowing that we can't, we don't, or we won't get it done every day, plant powders fill that gap. And when I saw Juice Plus 20 years ago, this is the second principle. When I was in the technology business, innovation is a concept in any industry, but it tends to be innovation tends to be used as a word to describe, you know, breakthroughs in technology, right? But there's 2 kinds of innovation, and this is the second principle. There's what I call incremental innovation that makes new things, that makes old things better, and then there's new things, and this is what I call disruptive innovation, and it's a term in the technology industry, what disruptive innovation is game-changing technology. It makes new things that makes old things obsolete. And when I saw these plant powders 20 years ago, I was like, that's a game changer. That's a new approach. That's a different in design. And that's what Steve Jobs did when he created the iPhone. It was a game changer. And before you had to have 8 or 9 devices, and then you now just have one device for the last 13 years, right? I saw Juice Plus literally like that. It was game changer in the sense it was an elegant, food-based way to get more matter that matters into my body every day. Because I knew there was a compounding effect to that basic principle, right? So I saw it as a disruptive innovation, and that's sort of principle number 2. It was ruthlessly practical. Plant powders make sense. It was disruptive innovation because it was coming at it from a keep it simple, stupid approach, trying to get more of the good stuff inside your body every day. And then the third principle I got from when I was in the financial business. The third principle is, Albert Einstein called the compounding interest the eighth wonder of the world. And when you put money into an investment, it doesn't mean much in a day, in a week, in a month, or a year, but you wake up over years and years and years, that compounding effect begins to have a parabolic-shaped impact. There's an advantage. And that compounding effect in money, it's the same thing when it comes to healthy living. Healthy living might not do much in a day, in a week, in a month, or even a year, but it'll do something for you in a year. But compounded over time, what the body acclimates to or becomes is your body acclimates to higher ground. And there is a conditioning effect. So I call that third pillar the compounding effect or the conditioning effect of food. And so when I speak to athletes or I speak to anyone, we are sort of in the attention economy, and I say, are you familiar with food conditioning with plant powders? That's kind of my hook, to open up their brain and keep their brain open long enough so I can distinguish, one, what plant powders are, because that's the what, and then the how, food conditioning. This isn't a quick fix. It's a long-term play. It's going to condition your body over time. And what these plant powders, Juice Plus have been able to do for 20 years is play that out across people from all over the world. Now, we know that it's working from our own stories, but we also know that it's working because of the body of efficacy, the 40-plus published studies that speak the objective language of modern science. And so if there's any health professionals on that, we've got your back. And so just kind of wrapping up, I mean, it is ruthlessly practical. That's what I saw in Juice Plus, these plant powders. It is a disruptive innovation concept because it keeps it simple and uses form and function to deliver what we already know we should be doing and what we're not doing in a simple, easy way. It's a disruptive, innovative idea and concept and proven product. And then there's a conditioning element, and that conditioning effect of plant powders over time for myself, I started out 20 years ago and I haven't missed a day. And I'm 54 now, and I play soccer with 20, 30-year-olds, and what it's done for me, for athletes, recovery is important. And for the rest of us, it's just called restoration and rejuvenation and reclamation. And, where human performance happens is actually at night during heavy REM, and you're deep in sleep, and the body recreates itself. It literally reforms itself, right? And what I like to build, what I've built over the years is what I call physiological durability, and I'll kind of leave it there. I mean, who doesn't want physiological durability? Athletes sometimes think of themselves, in a car analogy, as a Porsche or a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. It's high performance, but it's also high maintenance. But I like to think of myself, if that's the heads of the coin, you turn it over. Athletes also need to be like a truck. And so do we all. Like, who doesn't want to have physiological durability? To get up every day, roll hard, go to sleep at night, wake up the next day, totally refreshed, do it all over again. So that idea of physiological durability, whether you're pregnant, whether you're my grandparents, teenagers, myself, an athlete, whoever, your neighbor, building and conditioning physiological durability over time is kind of the bottom line for me. So, we've had the good fortune to work with athletes from all different sports across, aerobic, anaerobic, power, finesse. We're working with USA Volleyball, the Olympic teams, all that to say there's a conditioning effect to great food. Juice Plus is, the leader in plant powders. And from the standpoint of keeping it simple, stupid, ruthlessly practical, not much is going to change in your life until you change something that you do daily in your life. And I'll kind of leave it there because plant powders are a daily do for me. So
me too. Every day for 18 years, sometimes twice a day. But I love that, and thank you for all of that. But you said this once. I've heard you say we're not overtraining. Like, there is no overtraining. It's that we're not recovering enough. It's under recovery, I guess. You say it better, but it's so true, right?
Yeah. There's a saying in athletics: there's no such thing as overtraining, only under recovery.
Yeah.
And a lot of athletes don't treat recovery as part of their performance equation.
Well, and that's where I was coming short too with training my athletes. And you told me this story years ago that and it's a shame that these athletes would train and work out and train and for a big competition or a big race, and then they would travel halfway across the world or wherever, and then their bodies would break down because they weren't prepared from a nutritional level, right? I mean, I guess that's that physiological durability, right?
Yeah, a lot of athletes are maybe physically fit, but they're kind of fragile when it comes to their health.
Right.
So, the laundry list of sports results would be, I would think, somewhat different if many athletes understood their immune system is their frontline defense. So they hop on a bus, they hop on a plane, they hop on a train, they're going to the Olympic Games, the Super Bowl, the Tour de France, and they get taken out by a common cold, a bug, or this or that or whatever, and they don't have that physiological durability, and their physiology gets compromised. They might have the best lungs on the planet as a Tour de France athlete and best legs, but if your physiology is compromised, game over. And I can tell you, from a Super Bowl to the Tour de France to the World Series to the Olympic Games, where athletes got taken out by a common cold, bug, flu, virus, whatever, because they didn't have a strong immune system, as one example.
It's heartbreaking, and it's so simple. Like, you wake up and you take 8 capsules, or you probably double up. So yeah, it's such a shame. But I have to tell you this story. It's a little personal, and I don't know if I ever shared this, but this is one of the reasons why I am constantly trying to have more conversations with athletes and really anyone who'll listen. Back when I was treating, as a physical therapist, I worked with this one guy, this baseball player, and he was, I was treating him for his, rehabbing his shoulder, and he had great talent, he had a great work ethic, he wanted to go play, he wanted to go pro, and one day he asked me what supplement should, he be taking, and I am super embarrassed that I gave him the wrong information. They didn't teach us that. I mean, I have my master's degree from BU. We had one nutrition class. They didn't teach us this. And so when this kid asked me, I'm like, it doesn't matter. You'll pee out whatever you don't use. And that, I so regret those words to this day. I share as much as I can the information that you're sharing right here. I just repeat it. So I can try to inspire other people to not make the same mistake. I wonder what happened to that kid. Would that extra nutrition give him a little bit of an edge? I really think so. The research shows it, but I think so.
And I talk about, are you familiar with functional food?
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as you say the word supplements, what most people think of in the pantry shelf of their brain, they think of a multivitamin.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And we are not that, right? So I come in trying to distinguish ourselves with just some simple language. Are you familiar with functional food? Do you believe nutrient density is important? Are you familiar with food conditioning with plant powders? And, those are just some very simple little language tools that sort of you got to generate curiosity and hook them into a conversation. And for those of you who have been, if you've been taking notes, you can watch I've got a 10-minute YouTube that says exactly what I just said, probably in a tighter form. And if you want to write this down, you can just Google it, and it'll come right up. The title of the YouTube is Food Conditioning Principles for Deeper Level Results, and that should pop right up.
And I have the link too. I'll put it on the Cortese Voxer, and all the NMDs can give it to their teams. Yeah. So thank you for that. It's good because it has the visuals too. So, but thank you so much. Anything else? Did I miss did you miss?
Let me just add. Look, I say that health, as maybe those that are a little older, we used to know health, and maybe in the 20th century, it kind of used to be incidental. We like to think of, we just kind of grew up healthier than we are today. It kind of just used to come with the territory. We used to be moving more and eating better. And today, I believe it, physiological vitality, vibrant health, thriving. I believe today it is a functional skill set. It is an acquired learning. It is a curriculum that needs to be taught on par with reading, writing, and arithmetic. That kind of speaks to the dad on the mission part of me. It's like monkey see, monkey do. And if you're new to this conversation, the most correlated attribute, which is surprising, the most correlated attribute to great health turns out to be zip code, turns out to be the community that you live in, turns out to be your neighborhood, your community, your close tribe, right? And so this community is certainly a virtual community, but we gather, physically, past this year. But if you want to marinate in a community of health and vitality with people that are up to something in the space, start hanging out with this community, because just by osmosis, when you get on the field of play with those that are better than you, you acclimate your game. And we're all athletes sort of in this game of life. And if you want to up-level your physiological vitality, this community, is up to something in the space with some, simple activations to get you going. So I'll kind of leave it there on the how to and the what side.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We all really appreciate you, Jeff.
Hey, it's my honor, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. If you are a guest tonight, please connect with the person who invited you here tonight. They can continue that conversation, and if Juice Plus makes sense to you, I'm sure they can go ahead and get you started. Cheryl?
Yes, I'm still here. And
okay.
Thank you so much. And, Jeff, I really appreciate you tonight for sharing with us. As I'm listening, and, of course, I've been listening here and participating and own Juice Plus we've had Juice Plus nearly 30 years, as many of you know, and very simple, very focused, pure food. But I always seem to learn something new or hear something that, is a little different, and we're constantly reshaping our thought process. And first of all, I'm just always so proud that my body gets Juice Plus, that I was lucky enough that I came across this somehow, and that it became part of my life. This became my community, and it has really made a huge difference for myself, my family, my children, my grandchildren, as far as our level of health and being able to interact in the world. And I love Jeff's, referral there to, really be part of a community that, and this is one that really empowers you from a health standpoint, because we tend to think alike. But tonight, the word that really sticks with me that I've never really heard before was physiological durability. And I'm not what would be considered an athlete. I think I do work out, but I think I've been in the beginner's class most of my life. Okay, I can actually lift 10 pounds. But what I have, I realize, is physiological durability. I can count on feeling good every day. And this has been now for, the 28 years. And I've, like they both said, Karen and Jeff, I've never missed a day, because I don't want to miss that feel good every day. And it's something that you can count on. And I think that, for somebody like me who's not real versed in how the athletic body would work, other than I admire it, it really is obviously making a difference for myself as well. And I'm really, again, very blessed for that. So, Jeff, thank you so much, and for coming on with us tonight. And Karen, for you in the great interview there, because I know this has been your world as well, as far as athletes, working with athletes, and yourself being really healthy and
Thanks.
Athletic. So for all of you on the line tonight, I truly believe that we do have a calling, you might say, definitely a mission, a moral obligation at this time in history to make a difference for other people. For myself, I feel like as I said, I just got lucky, but it was because somebody cared enough to share, and that's how I got lucky. So let's all care enough to share and to make sure that we do get that word out that makes a difference. I mean, just the realization that, and he referred to this as, as food powders. I think that's another thing that is, really powerful here is we are not a supplement. We're not a fractured or fragmented food. We're a powerful food powder. And that's something else that I think is a wonderful description. So thank you all tonight. Thank you for the learning. Thank you for the sharing. And for everybody on the line, let's just have a wonderful week and, make sure that we're telling the story as often as possible so that we do make that difference for other people. So, again, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Jeff. And I'll say good night to everyone on the line, and it was a pleasure to have you all with us. Bye now.
Thanks.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Cheryl.
Good night.
Thanks.
Thanks.